in consultation with Trans Pride Hastings. I'm very proud to stand here with our trans sisters and brothers in solidarity, in defiance and in hope. Right now, the world feels like a very dark place, with more than just echoes of the 1930s. We're facing climate collapse, deepening economic crisis, and the rise of authoritarianism. From Palestine to Sudan, Ukraine, the US, and across Europe, human rights, civil liberties, and worker protections are under concerted attack. The far right is on the rise again, weaponizing and scapegoating minorities, punching down to distract from the rich and powerful who profit from our division. And shamefully, the Labour government is following the Trump playbook, targeting refugees, protesters, disabled people, striking workers, and now the trans and non-binary community. Let's be absolutely clear. Wednesday's Supreme Court ruling is an attack on trans rights. Anyone claiming otherwise is the ruling doesn't just strip rights. It delegitimizes the very existence of trans and non-binary people. And it paints a target on their back for every bigot, bully and thug. And let's say this loud and clear. The erasure of the rights of less than 1% of the population, already facing higher levels of stigma, abuse and violence than any other minority, is not a victory for women. Using womanhood for biology is not liberation, it's regression. We have fought for decades not to be straitjacketed by socially imposed fixed gender roles. And the same culture warriors cheering this ruling are the ones gunning for abortion rights and reproductive freedom, trying to crowbar white women into compulsory breeding while denying reproductive and family rights for black and brown refugees and migrant workers. The announcement from the British Transport Police that in the light of this ruling, male officers can strip search trans women shows that this attack on trans rights undermines the rights of all women. But the trans community is not alone. And I know that many of my trans friends have been heartened by the response since Wednesday's ruling. I'm proud that my union and most other unions have condemned this ruling and reaffirmed our solidarity with trans and non-binary people. Trade unions have always won by standing together. When we organise on the principle that an injury to one is an injury to all, we are unstoppable. people. Let's unite. Let's unite. Let's fight. And let's build a world. AAA. Let's unite. Ignore the haters. We need to unite and fight and build a world where everyone is free to define and celebrate their gender and sexual identity without shame or fear. Women's rights, one struggle, one fight. Trans rights, 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 women's rights, one struggle, one fight. We would like to ask those here today who do not agree with our views to respect the speakers who are going to be speaking here today, because it is a it takes incredible courage to stand up as a dignified minority and to identify yourself as trans. So please respect our trans comrades who you are going to hear from now. Our first speaker is an incredible woman. Our first speaker is a woman of courage and an inspiration, I know, to many people here. And she is Victoria from Trans Pride Hastings.
Oh, look! The faces are out of it.
Jesus. Hi everyone. Thank you. It's my first time on a megaphone, so bear with me. It's incredible to see all of you here today. I'm blown away. This is the reality of the situation. This ruling is not this. This is the reality. Everyone here today is standing up for us means so much. So bear with me. What we're doing by being here today, we're sending a powerful message. A powerful message to those who have made this ruling this week, but more specifically to the trans community in Hastings. We're saying that we're here for you, we will stand up for you, you are loved, and you belong. And I personally want to thank each and every one of you for doing that. We also stand with the protests happening all around the country today. There's a huge one in London right now, but in every city something is happening to this very thing. My name's Victoria, as Jenny said. My pronouns are she, her. I'm the co-founder of Trans Pride Hastings. I'm a trans woman. And I'm an LGBTQIA+ educator in my day job. So why are we here? This week we saw the UK Supreme Court people rule on the legal definition of a woman. Specifically, that sex as it pertains to the Equality Act is to be defined by biological sex. It's a harrowing move that leaves trans people, particularly trans women, who are already some of the most vulnerable within a vulnerable group, at significant risk. It's worth us having a little bit of a chat about what this means, as we're seeing it now violently weaponized against us. Trans women are not women is how it is being sold. This is an intentionally misinformed and untrue statement. This is about rights. Rights to spaces, safety, dignity, recognition, and protection. It is not about the definition of a word, which I will add, has not changed. I'm still a woman. And while this is entirely framed by the media as a women's issue, primarily focused on keeping trans women out of single-sex spaces, this judgment also highlights examples where trans men can be excluded from these spaces too, if reasonable objection is taken to their presence, for example, because the gender reassignment process has given them a male appearance. Clarity and confidence, they claim. Yet we see inconsistencies like this throughout the entire ruling. Sex means biological sex, sometimes. And the result is that trans people now find themselves as an ungendered underclass. Our non-binary and intersex friends say hello. I don't get a mention at all. But while the legal consequences of this ruling are yet to be seen, we will see an immediate rise in attacks, hate crimes, abuse, and discrimination. That's guaranteed. It feels like we're moving into open season. One of the worst moments for trans people in the UK we have ever seen. I'm scared. My trans and non-binary siblings are also scared. This all has an immediate and real-world effect. The sad truth is that for many of us, this is what I'm pleased to think, we already live in fear. This isn't about protection of anyone. It's about exclusion. Not just from spaces and public life, but from the very conversations deciding these actions. Nothing about us without us. Woo! In the case resulting in this ruling by the Supreme Court, not one trans person or trans-led organisation was consulted. In fact, we were prohibited from doing so. The court hearing instead from anti-trans organisations such as Sex Matters and the LGBT Alliance. It was not a fair fight. When is it? Where have we seen this before? A minority group having no say in what happens to them. We need to talk a little bit about how we got here and the past year and that way that things have been rapidly declining for trans folk in the UK. It started with the Cass Review in April. From that, West Streeting felt the need, the energy to put in place a puberty blocker ban for trans youth. This happened in May 2024 and was temporary. In August, it was extended to include Northern Ireland, a place where many trans youth were seeking their private healthcare. In November, it was then made an indefinite ban. Following on from that, we saw GP guidance be issued for GPs to not support trans youth with shared care arrangements for their private care that they were seeking, the only way that they were able to access gender-affirming care in this country. And now, this week, the Supreme Court ruling. This, of course, has all been fueled by the mainstream media. And it's worth mentioning that too. In the past year, 1,075 articles have been printed in this country about trans people. That's 3 per day. Just printed. There are many more online. I don't need to remind you of the context of those articles and the nature in which they come out. You've seen that this week in this week's news. And I'll remind you again that we are somewhere around 2% of the population. And at the moment, there are many more pressing issues than trans people. All of this is all backed by Christian right groups and our oh so common enemy, the billionaires. J.K. Rowling herself giving £70,000 to this case. We need to look very closely at the United States and their influence here. We can't convince ourselves that what is happening there is limited to overseas. It shows a very clear blueprint for where we're heading, and our government is watching and learning. Queer and trans books are being removed from libraries in this country as we speak.
Shameful!
Universities are pulling their trans inclusion policies. Erasure is happening. And what next? As Jenny said, reproductive rights, same-sex marriage, it's all being discussed. This ruling wasn't a win for anyone, but the patriarchy. I want to share this again because this affects all of us, especially women. In recent times, we've seen a huge increase in cisgender women being challenged in spaces because of being suspected of being trans. This will only increase. Women who don't fit the ever-moving goalposts of what a woman is, in the eye of the one doing the judging, of course, and on any given day. Tall women, butch women, masculine women, women with prominent Adam's apples, short haircuts, women dressed a certain way, the list goes on. There literally isn't a finite amount of things that can be called upon here. This is further policing of our bodies, our identities, and our lifestyles. And so we will all be forced to prove ourselves in order to access these spaces, often when most vulnerable, and to go about our daily lives. It's also worth mentioning that many of those doing the policing and implementing any of the ill-informed guidance that we are yet to see will be men, the only ones unaffected by this ruling. We've already seen the Transport Police issue this new policy stating that trans women, or anyone that they suspect to be, or say that they suspect to be, will now be searched by men. Have a think about that. And as this happens, it will once again be the trans community who are to blame, who will be blamed rather. The trans community needs help. We need you. We're in danger. We need allies to challenge this ruling, to challenge the rhetoric, to stand up for us, and to help us have the voice that we simply don't have. Recognize that allyship is a persistent and committed course of action. It's not a rainbow-colored t-shirt bought from Amazon. Educate yourselves. I'd urge you to look closely at this ruling and everything that is happening around you. Speak up. Understand exactly what you mean when you state trans rights are human rights. Talk to us. Center us in discussions around us. And most of all, be kind. We know that the majority of folks are supportive. We just need them to use their voice now more than ever. I'll say it again. This, right here today, is the reality. Not anything that we're reading in the newspapers. All of you here today and the support that you are showing me and my community is the reality of the situation. And if you need something simpler or easier to manage that will make an impact, if you're able, donate. Money talks. Donate to your local trans-led organization, charity, person, or cause. Please. I want to thank everyone for being here today and everyone that's involved with putting this together. Hastings Trade Union, Women's Voice, Hastings and Royal Rainbow Alliance, Stand Up to Racism, and all of you. I'm going to stop talking now, but I want to leave you today on a direct quote the conversation I had on Facebook this morning with a transphobe. They said, I am not cis, I am a woman. Me too.
trade union. Please welcome Izzy.
Push it, Izzy.
Hello. Hello everybody. Thank you so much for coming out, and thank you for everyone who's supporting us, and even if you're not supporting us, thank you for coming to listen to us. Which is an important thing I'd like to stress, that there is no help or good in division. We should unite and be one rather than against each other. I speak on behalf of the local Hastings Rainbow and Rubber Alliance, who is a LGBT charity, and I speak on behalf of PCS, but also for myself and anyone who's contacted me in the last week, and anyone who is here or is not here, who is around the country and even around the world. At the moment, and I'm speaking this very deeply and personally, I am scared. And I am scared of what's going to happen. And I am scared of everything that is about to happen to us. I'm scared of even going to the toilet. And I'll stress that again, to the toilet. Not a safe space, not something that means that I'm invading someone else's space. I just want to go to the toilet in peace. And I stress that so much. Thank you so much for coming, and I'm going to finish now, but once again, to all of us, that there is no need for division or conflict. Thank you so much.
We fight for rights for all of our community, and every person's right makes the rights richer for the whole. So I'd really like to welcome now a speaker from Hastings Women's Voice. I know Hastings Women's Voice put out a really good statement against the Supreme Court ruling and got lots of attack online from people who were previously supporters of Hastings Women's Voice. I think it's very good that they've stood loud and proud in solidarity with their trans sisters. So please welcome Kiara from Hastings Women's Voice.
We're proud to be inclusive of our trans sisters. We're horrified that hate and transphobia are battled as necessary to protect these women from violence, not in our name. Feminists fought so hard to make society understand that the vast majority of the time, gender-based violence happens in intimate relationships, to move away from the idea of stranger danger. It's cis men that are perpetrating violence against women. Cis men in our lives. Over 80% of sexual assaults are perpetrated by a partner, an ex-partner, or a friend. It's not trans women in the toilet. If anything, trans women are suffering gender-based violence even more than His anti-trans group raised over £230,000 just for this last appeal hearing at the Supreme Court. The average grant to a rape crisis center for a year is less than £14,000. These supposed feminists don't care about women. They care care about policing womanhood, drawing boundaries around who is worthy and who is not. Historically, that has never ended well. You know that. Biology is not destiny. This is feminism 101. Women opening champagne because they got a judge to say trans women are not women? Shameful! Shame! Will this improve the material conditions of women in our community and across the country? How is this supposed to make us feel safer when we travel alone at night, when we go on a date? Not in our name. These women and trans women have so much to fight for together and so much to lose right now. Autonomy over our bodies is under attack. Our enemies are the same, and it's not just in the US, it's here as well. It's not by coincidence that those countries where trans people are most under attack are also eroding the rights and autonomy of cis women. This judgment is bad news for all women. Human rights are universal. When a minority is stripped of their rights, it should sound alarm bells for everyone. These women must raise our voice more than ever now, not in our name. Trans rights are women's rights, are human rights.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Our next speaker is Simon from Stand Up to Racism, and he was at a Stand Up to Racism meeting on Wednesday night where Victoria from Trans Pride was speaking that the idea of this protest first came into fruition. So big welcome please for Simon from Stand Up, Hastings Stand Up to Racism.
So yeah, I'm from Stand Up to Racism. I'm also the chair of Hastings and District Trade Union Council, and I want to make it absolutely clear that I'm standing here in solidarity with our trans and non-binary community. I want to state from the start, trans women are women, trans men are men, and non-binary people are completely valid. That solidarity is expressed primarily to the community. You are not alone. You have allies. And let's be absolutely clear here. Solidarity is not a limited resource that needs to be chopped up and shared around. Solidarity grows stronger the more it is shared to everybody under attack. And we need solidarity now more than ever. We follow up Trump in America, and now his friend Nigel Farage in Reform UK are riding high in the opinion polls, getting a free pass in the British media, and let's be clear, they're likely to do very well in the local elections on May the 1st. Farage, Trump and all the rest of the far right across Europe who are rising are attacking trans people. They're attacking women's rights. They're attacking refugees, migrants and Muslims. That got your attention. Oh. Let's be clear, it's the oldest trick in the book. Scapegoating minorities and vulnerable people to deflect discontent from the rich and powerful. And let's be also clear, millions of people are right to be discontented and angry. We've faced a cost of living crisis and many people are hurting. We've had the cuts to winter fuel allowance, the cuts to child benefit, and now the cuts to disability benefits. Let's be absolutely clear. There is a housing crisis, but it's not the fault of trans and non-binary people. There is an NHS crisis, but it's not the fault of migrants and refugees. Migrants built the NHS. By taxing the corporations and taxing the record numbers of millionaires and billionaires that there are in this country. Sucking up to Donald Trump, the Labour government should be challenging the scapegoating, but shockingly and shamefully they're going along with it. And in fact, by going along with the scapegoating, the Labour government, for all their history and their words, are reinforcing the scapegoating, and they are opening the door to the far right. It's a serious situation, and on May the 2nd, it's going to get a lot worse if the Reform UK do really well. We have to brace ourselves for that, but I think we can be confident as well. We can't wait 3 or 4 years to resolve any of this at some election in the future. Instead, we now have to consciously work to build solidarity with trans people and all other vulnerable communities. We need action, we need organisation, we need the unions and people at work to defend the rights of their colleagues at work on a case-by-case basis, and we need to build a movement that can stand up and start to change the narrative and to fight back. Last night in Manchester, at short notice, over 1,000 people were protesting in the centre of Manchester like we are here, and I've just had a message a few minutes ago that in London at the moment there are over 10,000 people. Across the country right now, and even outside the British Embassy in Holland. We need a tidal wave of solidarity with the trans community, because as we know, we're a seaside town. When the solidarity rises, when the tide rises, all the boats will float. Trans, refugees, people under attack, women's rights. And my final point is this. This year, we have a massive opportunity to show what it's really like in Britain. Donald Trump is coming to Britain in September. Meet the King and all the rest of it. But I think we have to mobilise, think now about the welcome we're going to give him, the welcome he deserves. I hope every trans person and ally, every anti-racist, every feminist, everybody who supports the Palestinians, everybody worried about climate change, every trade unionist, when Trump comes to this country, we're going to mobilise in our hundreds of thousands, possibly in our millions, and by doing so, we will show what this country is really like, and we can turn the tide, and we can build a movement to bring about real change to the benefit of us all.
Should be feeling, but I'm really pleased to say that one of the major parties has come out in support of trans rights. So please welcome our speaker from the local Green Party, Paula.
Hi, so I'm here as a Green Party councillor and speaking for Green Party values. Out of 12 Green councillors in Hastings, 4 of us are part of the LGBTQIA community. But my main reason for being here and speaking out today is as an ally for the trans community. This cruel and absurd ruling by the Supreme Court deciding who is male and who is female is ludicrous and inhumane. The trans community were not consulted. It was brought by one group, For Women Scotland, and decided by lords and ladies with no real clue of the real world out here on the ground. How can this be? There is a Latin saying, Audi alterum partem. This means both sides should be heard. This did not happen with the Supreme Court ruling. That itself is highly unorthodox. This now means that trans women are now not recognised as women. This is an attack on all women. I am a lesbian. How does this affect me and my fellow lesbians? If I were to be in a relationship with a trans woman under this ruling, I would be considered straight. No. We live in... Hang on, I lost my place. We live in a diverse community and we need to protect our space while respecting others' space. Trans adults were trans children first. All children need to find their way and grow, so let's give them the space to do so. This has and will continue to divide us, and that's why we are here today. The trans community, now more than ever, needs allies. We are the allies. Protect our trans community, protect women, stand beside them and show up for them.
Laura mentioned that trans people are all trans children first. Just earlier today, over there, I was petitioning for trans rights, and I spoke to a young person from Ark Alexandra School, and that young person said that in her class, in her year, there was one trans person, and the other children are not allowed to use the preferred name of that person. They have to use the name that that child was assigned at birth. It's shameful that this is going on in our schools, but I'm really proud that my union, the National Education Union, has taken a strong stance in support of the trans community, and I'm really pleased to welcome here today the Joint District Secretary of the National Education Union in Hastings, Justin.
Hi there, can you hear me in the back? Yes. You can? Alright, I'm a teacher, so good afternoon. Okay, right, so I want to thank everyone for coming out. It's great you come out, it's great seeing you here, and it's even better to see some of my ex-students here as well, because I must have taught you well. So, I want to speak today, not just as an NEU member, not just as a Joint Branch Secretary, but also as an educator. Someone who sees every day what children carry with them into the classroom. Hope, fear, there must be legal protection and recognition for all identities. As our General Secretary said at conference this week, we will not allow the populist or hard right to dictate what we teach, how we teach, or who gets access to a quality education. We are a union with a high moral purpose, united in our shared desire to improve education for every child in every classroom. We are a union that stands up for what is right when it is right. So what does that look like? It looks like challenging harmful language in our staff rooms. It looks like respecting students' names and pronouns. It looks like not debating people's existence in WhatsApp chats. It looks like defending policies and practices that include everyone, because every student matters. This isn't always easy work, but it's the right work. And it's work that doesn't divide us, it unites us. Because when we build schools where trans kids feel safe, we build schools that are better for everyone. Let's stay rooted in solidarity. Let's say loud about inclusion. Let's lead from our values. Thank you.
And where their voices aren't being listened to, that we now have an open platform, so if there is any trans or non-binary person who wants to come up and say a few words, you are more than welcome. No pressure, but the platform is yours if you want to come and say a few words. You don't have to stand on the wobbly bench.
Yeah, I don't think you...
No.
Okay. I think it's a testimony, isn't it, to the climate of fear. Ah, excellent. We have somebody who wants to step forward.
Hi everyone, I'm not trans, so sorry for that, but I am the mother of a trans woman, and I'm so happy to see everyone here today and to see your support, solidarity, and thank you everyone, and I love you all.
Susie is going to say a few words. And Bev.
Oh, hi. Bev and I didn't want to speak to yourself at every single moment. But we are from Soccer Friday. I don't know if you know us.
Yeah, we
began this group to bring people together for fun, for dressing up, for the joy, just for the joy of being. And we just want to say that we are allies for everybody, for every community, and you're really welcome to join us. And yeah, love everybody, because man, if we don't, we're just falling to pieces. The community is breaking bit by bit. We need to stand together, and I'm over the moon to see everybody here today.
Let's all work together and fight this silliness.
Okay, Erica wants to say a few words. No pressure, but if there's any trans man who would like to speak, then we need some voices up here, but no pressure. Erica.
Thank you, and in fact I see so many people here today. I'm talking to you as a cis woman of a certain age, and because of that people can make assumptions. And back at the end of last year I decided that I wanted to make a little enamel pin tag to show that I was a trans ally. And if you make one, really you have to make quite a few. So I made 100, and this one here in my hand is the last one left. I'd really like to make more, because I think it's really important now more than ever that people have a trans ally badge on themselves and are willing and able to have conversations, sometimes supportive conversations, sometimes welcoming conversations, sometimes we might have to have harder conversations, but I think we should be there to make those conversations happen and to just show out and proud that we are trans allies. So, if some lucky person wants this badge, I will give it to them. If we've got 10 people here who give me £20 each, I'll make another 100. I'll give them the Hastings Trans Prize, and they can give them to people, or they can ask for money for them, do some fundraising. But I just want to make sure that anybody who feels that they want to wear a button like this has got access to one, because it's really important we show our colours on our sleeves. Thank you.
Victoria is around. If Victoria, we got... no, sorry, I was going to say she goes around the badge. We've got some more speakers. After, okay, Hazel is going to speak. Big welcome, please, for Hazel.
I'm standing here shaking and slightly terrifying myself. I came out back in December. It's a bit weird for me. But yeah, I'm a transgender woman. I am a teacher, and in my time being out, I've seen amazing support from our cis sisters. And there is so much doom and gloom, and there is so much temptation to turn on each other and get angry because a small group of vocal monsters with no respect for themselves or their own identity want to force their misanthropic worldview on the rest of us. From one trans woman to every other woman out there, we love you right back, and we're not going to stop it.
Okay, and a big welcome, please, for Meridian, who has been persuaded under...
I'm non-binary, and it's, I just want to say thank you to everyone who came out. I think as somebody who is only just coming to terms with my identity and wanting to see, like, thinking about treatment and things like that, and the prospect that something like this has happened and that could be taken away, it's so scary, and it's beautiful to know that there are people out here who are supporting the community. I also used to work in a school, and seeing like the young queer people in our community who they just want to be happy. We all just want to be happy, and the fact that our government is taking steps to take that away from us is just horrible. It's just horrible, and I think we just need to be here for our community and for the young people in our community who already have enough to deal with. Being a teenager is hard enough. On top of all of this, it's just worse. But yeah, just thank you to everyone, and just keep turning up, keep fighting. Yep. And wait, who the fuck's gonna? Oh, Kian. Kian, the fuck off. I've had enough of it.
Okay, final speaker is Emily.
Hey everyone, I don't usually talk about abuse, because it's, well, what I do. What's that? Okay, I transitioned back, I started transitioning way back in 2002. So this is before we got the Equalities Act and the Gender Recognition thing came into 2000. I suffered a hell of a lot of abuse back then, taking the piss, using my dead name and everything. And over the years I've seen everything improve and improve and improve. The community has got so much better. And to me, it feels like it's reverting back to the time it was before. At least this time we have the support of the general public, and less people are going to give you abuse and all the shit, all these turfs. Where are they? I don't know where they got. Give us. Viva Solidarity! Me again. Thanks. I mean, that's really all I can say. I am proud to be here today. All of you should be as well. This is an incredible turnout for what is such an important issue that we are facing right now. All I really want to say, just to close things for today, is just keep doing what you're doing. Keep standing up, keep showing up, be as loud as you possibly can. And I hope to see as many of you as possible at Trans Pride this year. July 11th to the 13th, we've got 3 days. Please, all do come along, and thank you so much for everything you've done today. It matters so much. Fucking love you!
Yeah, we've just had a request for one final speaker. So, Edwina.
I'm here today as a queer woman, but I'm also here for the woman I brought up, who's a trans woman. She stood firm for the age of 3 because she knew who she was, and I stood by her. And I want to say to all the children out there, all the young people out there, find your tribe, stand by them, and you're safe with them. Thank you.